Hello, moms. This is Brianna. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I will just wait a couple seconds in case I'm coming on a few minutes late to the Facebook Live, but I know you all forgive me. So yeah, we're going into Memorial Day weekend. So I don't know if some of you are going out of town or if you're just going to be staying home. I'm actually going out of town tomorrow. I'm going to Sacramento because my cousin is getting married. So I'm going to be flying out there and spending a few days with the family, and then of course at the wedding. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm super excited. I haven't done a Facebook Live. Well, it hasn't been that long, but I know we have a lot of new moms that have joined us in the group. So welcome if you're watching live or if you're catching the replay. Welcome everyone, whether you've been in this group for a while or whether you have just joined recently. I'm so happy and I'm so honored that we have such a growing group of amazing women and amazing moms just coming together to really empower your daughters. But I think, something else that we do in this group, it's not in the title. It's, the title is Concerned Moms Creating Empowered Teenage Daughters, but it's also really about like empowering you, because your daughters learn so much from you. And so it's not all about empowering your daughter, it's about empowering yourself as well, it's just so important. So, for some reason, when people log on, I can't see who's joining me. So if you would like to let me know if you're hopping on live, just send me like a little note that says, "Hi, I'm here." So I know who's joining, because it only shows numbers. It doesn't actually say who's here. But yeah, so anyways, earlier this week, something happened. Usually something happens that makes me want to do a Facebook Live, because I usually think like, I want to talk about this in the group. So of course, something happened this week that made me think, okay, we got to do a Facebook Live on this. So, the main topic for this is the single most important thing that your daughter needs to know, that she needs to understand in order to be happy. And there's actually two parts in this. But before we get into that, I kind of just want to talk about how this problem is affecting your daughter right now. So if you have a daughter, whether she's preteen, whether she's a teenage girl, or whether she's, a young woman, if she's not happy in some aspect of her life, this could be affecting, whether she's suffering from anxiety, or maybe she has depression. Maybe she's gotten into self-harm. Maybe she complains a lot, or, does she have a really negative outlook, on the world and, about herself? Is she constantly fighting with you? I mean, all of these things can happen if your daughter is not happy. So another thing on top of that is this doesn't only affect your daughter, this is also affecting you as her mother, because if she's a teen or if she's a preteen, she's living with you. So how she's showing up is definitely affecting you. So are you constantly worrying about your daughter because she's not happy? Or, do you feel like you're walking on eggshells because, she might explode at any given time and you never know, what kind of mood she's going to be in? Are you losing sleep? Is your health deteriorating? Is this affecting, like, if you have other children, is this affecting, if your daughter is not happy, is this affecting the whole family? Is it affecting, the siblings as well? Being happy, it's like, it affects so many different areas. It's not just like it's in like one little box and like, here's your happy box, right? And it stays there. It's just not how it works. So, you know, if your daughter is not happy, it usually filters out into many different aspects of her life, right? And so that's what I really want to talk about today. And here's the big thing. When you get this right and your daughter is happy and she knows how to be happy, then, you know, she can believe, you know, whether it's right now or whether it's 5 or 10 years from now, you know, she'll believe in herself. She'll push herself to pursue her goals and, you know, what she wants to do in her life. And, you know, she's going to be able to really fulfill her true potential, whatever it is that she wants for herself. And that comes from, you know, her being happy and showing up in this sort of way in her life. But, you know, there's also a flip side to this. So what happens if your daughter is not happy, if she's miserable, if she's depressed, if she's sad, right? What is going to happen in, you know, now or maybe even 5 or 10 years from now? I mean, she's not going to she won't fulfill her true potential in life, right? She's not going to take initiative to set and pursue her goals. You know, she's not going to put any effort into her education, or maybe if she does put effort into her education, it might be this much, but you know that she could put this much, but she's not. She's putting this much because something is getting in the way, and it is her happiness. So I want to talk about one other thing before we get into the, you know, the single most thing that your daughter needs to know in order to be happy. And that is, I really feel like, you know, there's a lot of therapists out there, and I feel like, I'm not saying all of them, but I think a lot of them are failing. The ones that work with teen girls, they're failing them. And let me tell you why, before you get mad at me for saying that. Because you know, if your daughter is going to therapy, or maybe you have thought about it, you know, it's this notion that I'm going to send my daughter to therapy and everything will be fine. Everything will be great. She'll be happy, you know, she'll be confident, and, you know, her whole life will be better. It'll be fixed. Okay, so that can happen, but the missing piece in all of that is that your daughter needs to put the effort into it. And I feel like something that happens when girls, you know, you might seek outside help, such as taking your daughter to therapy. If your daughter is going to therapy once a week, and let's say she's talking about her issues, she's talking about her problems, and then that's it. She goes in for an hour, she talks about her stuff, she comes home, and then everything goes back to the same thing that she was dealing with before. Her unhappiness, her anxiety, her depression, okay? And she's not working on herself in between going to therapy. Then next week comes along. She goes to therapy again. She talks about her problems. They might talk about a couple of things that she could be doing differently. And then she comes home. And then she goes right back to where she was before. So the problem that is happening is that these girls are not learning that they need to take control of how they are feeling. So that brings me to the topic of this Facebook Live. The single most important thing that your daughter needs to learn, that she needs to understand, and that she needs to get in order to be happy is, what is the source of your daughter's happiness? I'm going to repeat this again because it's really important. What is the source of your daughter's happiness? What is it? Is it coming from out there? Is it coming from somebody else? Because this is what is going on with so many girls. I see this with preteens. I see this with teen girls. I see this with young women. I mean, and not just, I mean, this happens with so many people, is that our source of our happiness is not coming from within. And so if your daughter is, let's say, going to therapy, and she might think, oh, this therapist is going to fix me. Well, first of all, she doesn't need fixing. There's nothing broken with your daughter. We just need to remove some of the layers that are covering up what is really inside, which is her inner greatness, right? It's her power. It's in here. And I think of it like, an onion. We're like shedding back the layers, like one by one by one. And then right in here is like where her soul is, but that's also where her confidence is, where her self-esteem is, where her inner greatness is. It lies all within, right? But let me tell you the problem when, if your daughter is seeking outside help, if you're seeking outside help for your daughter, it's not like she goes to someone and they're going to fix her. They're going to make her life amazing. She has to do the work for herself. So that's why, when I ask the question, what is the source of your daughter's happiness? Is it outside of her? Is it external? Is it a boyfriend? Is it, your love that you're giving her? Is it her friends? Is that what is giving her happiness? Or is it her accomplishments? Is it that she is getting, straight A's in all of her classes, and that makes her feel like she is enough and that she is happy within herself? Okay, those are all external things. But here's the problem with all of that. When all of those things are stripped away, when her friends leave her, if this should happen, if her boyfriend breaks up with her, if she doesn't get that A on that assignment or that paper that she's been working so hard on, then where does that leave her, and where is her source of happiness then? Because those were all external things. None of those things came from within. And so when I ask the question, what is the source of your daughter's happiness? If it is not coming from inside of her, she will never be fully happy, because our happiness comes from within. And so that's why I brought up, like, if your daughter is going to therapy, or if she's going to someone to help her, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what is she doing to help along with the process for her to become happy? Because if she is saying, if she's like somewhere in her head saying, fix me, like, you're going to do this work for me. No way. It doesn't work like that. The therapist is not going to fix her. I'm an empowerment coach for teen girls, preteen, teen girls, and young women. I am not fixing any of the girls and young women that I work with. They are doing the work themselves, and that's the difference. Because when your daughter can get that, and when she owns that, that is when she steps into her full power and her true greatness. And that is when she becomes happy, and she knows how to tap into her happiness, because it's not out there. And she doesn't go looking for it. She doesn't need to go looking for it from a boy. She doesn't need to go looking for it from, friends that are going to love and accept her. Well, and what if those friends don't love and accept her? What does that mean about, what is she going to make that mean about herself and her own happiness and her own self-worth and her own self-love? This all comes from within. But when your daughter doesn't get that, and she doesn't understand where her source of happiness comes from, she will spend her whole life looking outside of her, trying to fill it up in many different ways. And it will all come back to herself. And that's why this work is so important. It is so important for your daughter to find her own inner source of happiness, because it's not out there. It's not about what you're going to give your daughter. Yes, it's amazing that you give your daughter love and affection and care and compassion and all of the good things that you're giving her. That's amazing. But she needs to find it within herself. Does that make sense? Okay. So there's a second part to this for your daughter to find her own inner happiness. And here it is. As long as your daughter blames her unhappiness on other people, on other things, she will never be happy. Okay, so let me tell you what I mean by that. So things always happen in our lives, right? Like let's say you got in a big fight with your daughter, and your daughter is so upset. She's like so upset, and she's like furious, and she's mad, and she can't get back to being happy because she's so mad at you, and she's blaming you for her unhappiness. The second that your daughter starts blaming anything outside of herself for her unhappiness is the second that she is giving her power away. And she falls into being a victim. Because again, this goes back to, where is our source of happiness coming from? Is it coming from mom, or is it coming from dad, or is it coming from the boyfriend, or is it coming from the friends? No, it's coming from inside of her. So if your daughter's source of happiness is coming from inside of her, then how can she blame you? How can she blame her father? How can she blame somebody else that is making her unhappy? It's not anyone that's making her unhappy. It's, oh, Tracy, you couldn't be more right. We all need to understand this. Tracy, I love you. Thank you. It's nobody else that's making her unhappy. It's her. And it's because she doesn't know how to do the work on herself to make herself happy that she is blaming other people for her unhappiness. This is such a huge, this is what empowerment is all about. This is what, when your daughter can really step into, what is my source of happiness? It's not out there. It's right in here. And when your daughter can tap into that day after day after day, and she can really know her truth and her value and know that happiness is right in here and not out there, then that takes her and puts her in control of her own life. And she doesn't need to blame you, mom, or she doesn't need to blame her dad for anything that's happened in her life. Because the second that she takes responsibility for where she is and where she is going, game on. That's when her life starts to change. That's when transformation starts to happen. And that's when she is like in the driver's seat of her own life. And I see this happen with so many girls, so many young women. They're like, well, my mom did this and this and this to me. And, my dad that did this and this and this to me. Okay, let's take a look at that. Okay, so maybe your mom did X, Y, and Z. Maybe your dad did do this. But what are you making that to mean about yourself? And what are you doing with it? Are you just thinking about it nonstop? Are you playing the victim? What is your daughter going to do to take herself out of being a victim and make herself fully empowered? This is so important, and this is what will change your daughter's life. And so, I want to talk about something like, why am I even, how did I think to do this topic for this Facebook Live? And actually, it was really interesting because earlier in the week, I had something happen to me, right? And I don't want to get into the story because we'll be here all day, but something happened and I was triggered, and it got me feeling really upset inside, right? And because I come from a place of self-awareness, I look at everything that is coming up in my life and I look at it what is the deeper meaning, and what do I need to do to change this? Because I could have stayed upset for days and days and days, but was that going to help me? Was that going to make me feel better? No, it was not going to make me feel better. So what did I need to do? I needed to put in the work. So I'm going to get to this, but this is what your daughter needs to do as well if she wants to be happy. Happiness doesn't just come to her. She needs to put in the work and she needs to put in the effort. So back to my story, I recognize, okay, I'm not liking how I'm feeling. I want to feel good. I want to feel happy, and something needs to shift. And so I recognized it and I did something about it. A lot of you know that I teach breath work, but I do breath work on myself. And so a couple days ago, I laid down, I put on a playlist for my, the music that I like to listen to when I do my breath work, and I laid down and I breathed it all out, and I cried and I just let it go, and all of those suppressed emotions just came to the surface and it came out, and I just let it all out, and I felt amazing afterwards. It was such a release. So why am I sharing this with you? Because I knew that I needed to do something to change my state of being. I didn't want to be upset. I didn't want to be depressed. I didn't want to be feeling that way. I'm a busy woman. I've got lots of things I've got to do. I don't have time to sulk, and I don't have time to be upset. Same with your daughters. A lot of them are getting into a state, this like natural state of being depressed or being sad or being angry, and they don't know how to switch it. They don't know how to change from being sad, depressed, and unhappy to be grateful, to be happy, to love their life. It doesn't just come to them like that. They need to put in the work. Just like I knew I was not feeling well, like something needed to shift within me. So I laid on the floor and I breathed for 40 minutes. I just laid there and breathed it all out. And then I did a meditation and I felt amazing. If your daughter is not putting in the work to help herself, she is going to stay stuck. She's going to stay stuck in wherever she's at, whether she's feeling anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's sadness, whatever it is. If she's not moving that energy out of her, that stuff stays stuck in her. It has nowhere to go. And so really the real work is, what is your daughter doing to help herself make her feel better? Because it's very easy, I'm not gonna lie, it's very easy to do the blame game. It's very easy to say, oh, but my mom did that to me. Oh, my dad did that to me. My friend did that to me. And I know things like happen in a young girl's life. And I know there are really challenging times. I mean, there's like bullying going on. There's mean girls. There's, all sorts of things that are happening for these girls. And it's not an easy time. And I'm not saying that it is. But for your daughter to really take ownership of her life and where she is and where she wants to go, it's not about going to a therapist and having a therapist fix her for that 1 hour, and then she's going to come back and she's going to be feeling amazing. It's about her putting in the work and the effort to make herself happy. I do this every single day. Why? Because I want to be happy. I want to feel grateful for my life. And I know that if I am not doing this work, then I will not feel happy. And I know like a lot of girls, and even like you moms, you might want a quick fix. A quick fix meaning like it's not necessary. She doesn't have to do all of this work. Like, maybe it's medication. I'm not putting down medication, but maybe you want something simple and easy and quick. There is nothing quick and easy and simple about really stepping into your own happiness. It takes time. It takes action steps. It takes your daughter putting in some work and effort. And if she doesn't want to do that, I don't know what to tell you, but it's just, she's not going to be able to do it. It's about your daughter making a conscious decision of who she wants to be. How does she want to show up in the world? It's really easy to play the victim. It's really easy to say all of these things have happened to me, so therefore I'm going to stay stuck. I'm going to stay feeling like crap because X, Y, and Z happened to me. Well, it's true. Maybe X, Y, and Z did happen to your daughter, but what is she going to do about it? This is the real work. This is, as an empowerment coach, as a confidence coach for preteen and teen girls and young women, this is what it's all about. It's about your daughter taking ownership for where she is right now in her life and where she wants to go. Because if she's not taking ownership and she's not taking responsibility for her own life and her own actions, then it's very hard for her to get better. It's very hard for her to become happy and fulfilled and love her life. It's all about, so, back to the question, what is the source of your daughter's happiness? The source of your daughter's happiness is right here. It's right here, and it has always been here. And your daughter needs to learn that and needs to understand that. So I know we've covered a lot of things today, all about where is the source of your daughter's happiness and, why it really disempowers her and how it disempowers her if she's blaming other people, if she's making other people the reason why she is not happy. So, and I know you might be thinking to yourself, well, that's great, but how is this going to change my daughter's life? She's still unhappy. She's still not getting better. I don't know what to do to help her. Well, this is what I'm doing. I've opened up some slots in my calendar, and I would love for you to book a call with me so we can talk about what is going on with your daughter. What are some of the issues? What are some of the problems that are going on in her life? And where do you want your daughter to be? And if I can help support you and help her get there, then yes, let's talk about it. I have to say, okay, I'm going to just talk about coaches. Okay, I'm an empowerment coach for teen girls, young women. But I need to talk about something because I know, if you're watching this, whether you're watching it live or you're watching it on the replay, I know it might not be I'm going to do this in quotes. It might not be the normal thing to do to go get a coach for your daughter, right? The normal thing to do might be go to therapy, right? But let me ask you a question. If your daughter is in therapy right now, and let's say she's been going for 3 months or longer, I want to ask you a question. Are you seeing a difference with your daughter? Is she getting better? If the answer is no, and she has been going to therapy for longer than a couple of months, then I'm here to tell you, you might not want to hear this, but the therapy is not working. It's not working if your daughter is not getting better. And so it's really about opening your mind to what else is out there, right? What else can you possibly be doing to help your daughter? And I know for myself, I have hired coaches for myself. I have a business coach. I have an amazing business coach. I also have a life coach. Why do I have these coaches in my life? Because I want to be the best self that I can possibly be. And I cannot do that unless I have people around me that are supporting me, that are helping me, that are showing me the blind spots that I might not be seeing for myself. And for your daughter, it's the same thing. Do you think your daughter is going to be confident and empowered and loving her life if you're doing it on your own? Maybe you're reading a book at home and you're thinking, oh, okay, well, I'm learning a lot of good material in this book. This is great. Well, that's great. A book can have tons of good information, but is that going to transform your daughter's life? And don't get me wrong, I love books. I have hundreds of books here and I read them all the time. I'm always reading spiritual books. So I'm not putting down spiritual books or books of any nature. But what I'm saying is reading a book going to really transform your daughter's life? No, you're going to need to do more than just that, right? And so it really takes, it's like a leap of faith. And I know for me, earlier on in my early 30s, when I first started working on myself, this is before I got my first coach. I know that there was a little bit of shame. There was a little bit of hidden shame within me. Why? Because I felt like I should have it all figured out. why do I need a coach when I should be able to do this? I should be able to transform my life. I've done X, Y, and Z. I've done all of this. I've done retreats. I've done workshops. I've done this and this and this. I should know how to do this. And so I remember feeling like a little bit of like shame, like why do I need a coach? Like I should be able to get this on my own. The truth was I wasn't able to on my own. I needed a coach. And that was when my life started transforming. The first time I got my coach. And I've had multiple coaches and they've all been amazing and they've helped me transform my life in so many different ways. So I want to really like be clear with you. If you've watched this whole thing, this whole Facebook Live, and this is resonating for you, I want you to be really clear with yourself. If you are hesitating in any sort of way by, let's say, even booking a call with me, which there's no commitment to book a call with me, right? We're connecting, we're talking, you're telling me about your daughter. There's no commitment. But if you are hesitating with doing even that, then I want you to be really clear with what's going on for you. Is there some fear that's getting in your way of helping your daughter? I mean, because if we keep doing the same things over and over and over again, we're going to keep getting the same results, right? Nothing's going to change. If you want something different for your daughter, you've got to do something different. Transformation for your daughter, if you want for her whole life to transform, guess where it starts? It's not out here, it's in here. And that's the work that I do with girls. It's all about what's in here. It's about them recognizing how amazing, how beautiful, how special, how confident, how worthy, how enough they really are. And the second that they understand their worth and their value, everything changes. I know everything changed for me when I finally got it. When I finally got that I was enough, that I mattered, that I was important, it was like, whoa, my life changed, right? And so what am I here to do? I mean, like, yes, you know, Facebook Lives, like I'm educating you, I'm sharing all of this with you, but there is a next step beyond this. And the question is, are you going to take it? Are you going to take the next step? Are you going to book a call with me so we can talk about your daughter and see what's going on? And so your daughter can get the help that she really needs. Because at the end of the day, your daughter most likely is not going to go up to you and say, Mom, I really need some help. There are some girls that might do that, but for the most part, girls don't know how to ask for help, right? So it's up to you. It's up to you to get the help for your daughter that she needs. And it's not even just for girls. A lot of moms, I know a lot of moms, whether you're watching the live or you're watching the replay, it might not feel so good to ask for help, right? Is it uncomfortable? Maybe. Does it feel a little bit weird? Do you feel like you need to know all of the answers for yourself? Maybe that too. But it's about getting, this is the stuff that I teach the girls that I work with and the young women that I work with, getting out of your own way. Because if we let our fears stop us from moving forward, then where does that leave us? I used to have so many fears. It stopped me in so many different areas of my life. And I don't want that for your daughter. So this is moving me. I'm taking a moment to just take in everything that I've said. Because I usually, for those of you who have been in this Facebook group for a while, I don't usually come off as like so emotional and so, into this, but this is like what I'm talking about. It's like, gosh, I just need to take a moment and breathe. Because this is really what it's all about. And, I had earlier today, I had an amazing session with one of the girls that I work with, and she's just it makes me want to cry because she is becoming so empowered and so she's stepping into the truth of who she is. And for me as a coach to see that, this is why I do this work. Oh my God, I'm having a crying moment. This is why I do this work, because I love helping girls and young women feel empowered. Like, this is what it's all about. And I think, for so long, I didn't feel empowered, and I didn't feel worthy, and I didn't feel enough. And so, like this girl that I was working with today, like, she's getting it, and she's just like, she's moving in her life in such a like an empowered way. And it's just like, to witness it and like to see her like making all of these shifts in her life, like, there's no better feeling in the world. And like, this is why I love what I do. This is why I am here. And this is also why I went through all of those struggles that I went through when I was younger, because I had to go through all of this so I could be able to like relate to your daughters, so I could see what they're going through, because I have been there too, and I struggled so much, and I came out on the other side. And it's like, it's amazing, like, my life and how much I have transformed my life, and like, to be able to like do this work with other girls and young women, it's just like, I'm honored and I'm blessed and I'm grateful, and it's just like, it's a blessing. It's all a blessing. So with that, if this is resonating with you, I'm going to leave in the comment section below, I'll leave the link so you can book a call to speak to me. I don't have, just to let you know, because I'm going out of town this weekend, so I don't have so many slots open for this weekend, but I will have more next week when I'm back in town. But I just wanted to share this, and I really want you to just step into your own heart and feel like, what is the source of your daughter's happiness, and where is your daughter looking for that happiness? Because if it's outside of herself, then she's going to have a really hard time ever feeling happy. She's going to have a real hard time ever feeling like she, what was I going to try to say? She's going to have a real hard time trying to feel like she's enough and that she matters and that she's important if all of the happiness is outside of her. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'm sending you all lots of love, hugs, and kisses, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and much love to you all. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.